Hey, hello, this is Professor Game, where we interview successful practitioners of games, gamification, and game thinking who bring us the best of their experiences to get ideas, insights, and inspiration to help us in the process of getting students to learn what we teach. And I'm Rob Alvarez. I work at IE Business School Publishing, where we create interactive and engaging learning materials. And today we have Altug Yilmaz. Altug, are you prepared to engage?
Yes, Rob, I am engaged.
Let's do this. So Altug is a professional gamification designer, and after graduating from Mathematical Engineering, he worked for Netron and BilgeAdam as a trainer. He was responsible for the Turkcell Educational platforms for more than 5 years at Turkcell Academy. He's the author of the first Turkish gamification book and Gamification Confederation's Turkey representative. He's blogging about gamification at his blog, and correct me, Altug, if I pronounce it wrong, but it looks like oyunlastirma.co. I'm expecting that will be in Turkish, right?
Yes, it's Turkish, and you pronounce very well, man.
He's also the only Turkish person who got invited to give a speech at Gamification World Congress 2016, which I was happy to assist in Spain a bit over a year ago. And he's also doing lecturing at the university and doing gamification consultancy for companies. So, Altug, let's get started with the first question. And we always like to know, what does a regular day with our guests look like? So what does it look like for you, Altug?
Thanks, Rob, for invitation, and it's a very great pleasure to talk with you. I'm trying, like I say, I'm trying to gamify my all day, try to spread the gamification to Turkey. And for example, I'm not using business cards. Mostly, I'm giving book to people. This is my book.
The best business card ever.
Yeah, for example, if the people buy my book, I say, if you didn't complete the read, I won't sign. This kind of gamifying process, I'm trying to add my life. But it's actually more than 2 years, actually, I quit my job from Turkcell Academy, and I started at Bahçeşehir University in Istanbul for lecturing and doing lots of consultancy and speaking and workshops and doing some project for the early, let's call this way, I love it in English, early adapters of gamification at Turkey. There's no word in Turkish for that. So I made couple project with these companies and I just showed them it works, but also some parts didn't work, or it worked with the wrong way, something like that. And I'm just sharing very openly in the Turkey with this gamification. And I was the first guy about that. That makes me feel very happy about that. So actually, there is no regular day. Someday I just woke up and go to the university. Someday, for example, today I went to company for some, let's say, internal idea portal, and it was all about gamification. So they used me as a jury. So we just gave the vote for the ideas, and it was all about the gamify of a process. So just like this, and people ask me about why you are talking about gamification, because I'm normally educational technologist and I wrote lots of coding. My background, and everyone in gamification area has some background. Some of them web developers, some of them human resources professionals, some of them other marketing or kind of background they have. I just say, the gamification is the one and only thing that I saw from corporate area to spread more people. So I'm trying to do that more than 2 years, and it's going quite well.
Fantastic. Nice to hear that. So Altug, we want to make a shift here, and the next question I want to make to you is for you to tell us the story of what I like to call your favorite failure. That time when you were creating a game or gamification that, perhaps it actually set you up for learning or for future success. Can you tell us that story, Altug?
Yeah, like I told you, there is no certain 100% success gamification project in my idea, or 100% failure. There is some failure, there is some good success too. One of the biggest failure in my let's say this way, also for Turkish and gamification. If you say we are doing gamification of something, for example, people say we are not going to play that, or are we going to play something in the business area? We should selling things or taking some real job. We shouldn't play in the job area. So
No having fun in the job, that's forbidden.
yeah, I think yeah, I saw some people like that, and they also forbidden to their some manager to forbidden to his players to play our trivia kind of gamify of educational system. So we started thinking with the game company, how we can make it to play them, because they never, even they are not open the game. They heard is a gamification. They just didn't open the our project. So I said, uh, I think they are shy. I asked him why you didn't play that. He says, if people will say will see my name on the leaderboard or the game, and they will think, hey, look, for example, Mehmet is not working, he's playing. So so we just switch this kind of thing with we think with the game company, and we put the branch name on that, not Mehmet, but let's say Istanbul or Ankara, kind of, So they started to represent without showing their name, but also the social pressure, Ankara just passed to Istanbul, so Istanbul started to
So they
say,
had like
Ankara.
avatars? That's what they were
Yeah,
using?
yes. I mean the leaderboard kind of with the avatars, and they started to, at the beginning they shied and scared to see their name, but if you use the branch name, for example, they will easily engage without scaring because they don't know who is playing that. But we put that, for example, 40 people, almost 40 people represent their branch with the name like Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir. So they started to play at the beginning. Then they addicted about that. So we use some hook like, just Ankara passed you with 2 questions. Let's keep play end of the day, and you can earn something. This kind of push notification makes them very addictive. So it's quite well. I mean, it worked, and I realized that after that they can easily say, "Yeah, I played until the midnight. I played that. I'm not playing in the branch, but I play at home, something like that." It's
Which would be the main learning that you got after that initial fail when they said, we can't do this because people will say we're playing in the job. What would you recommend as a key learning that you got from that experience?
At the beginning, we have to be, there's always think about personas, and this kind of personas, they are very shy, and they just want to be, scare the other people or manager or this kind of thing. The leaderboard kind of social mechanics is maybe not for one first day, probably you can imagine some phases of the game design. So at the beginning, maybe you shouldn't use any challenge, any leaderboard, any kind of this. They saw their self, for impression from comparing with Leslie, comparing with the himself kind of. Then when they are ready to, yes, I can show my name, I can challenge the other branch or this kind of thing somehow. After the onboarding, they can do that. I think the phases are very important.
That's fantastic. I mean, I guess that the main thing that we have to take into account from your story, I would say, is also thinking about who are going to be those personas, those users. If they're shy people, you don't want to get a competition into something that's at least initially not a competition. They don't want to see their names up there. Then don't put their names up there. Always consider what would motivate them. If being on the leaderboard is something that could motivate them, then fine. If it's going to be something that demotivates them, well, that's not exactly what you don't want to do. So that's fantastic. Altug, I'm gonna go into the next question, and again make a 180-degree shift here. And I'm going to ask you, what is the biggest challenge that you've actually faced and solved using gamification? It could be in your life, it could be in a client company, giving classes at the university, at some training. How have you? Can you tell us a story about an interesting success that you've had using gamification?
I think the gamification is a great tool for to motivate the people they already wanted to do but can't able to do. And my ideas is always create a personas and understand the target audience and try to be create some journey for them. So I think the biggest challenge is try to understand people and like maybe it's a some cultural things, but Turkish people are mostly shy people and like Chinese people. This is very important. And if you say like what is your motivational, they are mostly saying not correct things. So we cannot see very easily the people motivation. I think create some doing lot of research about that the biggest challenge when we are trying to do. And as I see, we shouldn't think like, we cannot motivate 100% people about that. With gamification, everyone just say that, we will create very good behaviors, very good changing behaviors and creating habit to people. But it's not like that. You cannot target the 100% people. You cannot target the young students and also the old people, for example.
Altug, I'm going to interrupt you here, and sorry
Yeah.
about that. But can you think of a specific time when you found this and had a success when using all these strategies and introducing gamification, so that we can have a story and people can relate to the experience that you had and how you arrived to that success.
Yeah, I mean, for example, some company try to um, hire people, for example, and they just wanted to play with them. They just wanted to create some journey for them, but they never think about the game thinking. And when they are try to be, for example, let's create a game with you, play a game with you while we are interview with cards, kind of, they can easily change their behavior, and you can see some. Actually, they are doing, for example, some challenging things very easily, but they are very shy about to showing themselves and represent something with their self. And I think the game thinking, changing, you are volunteers. It's not like you are a discipline kind of thing. It's make you relax, and you can see the, let's say, the real personality on that. Thinking, using game thinking for the seeing the real characters and the motivation of the people, it's very easy with game.
That's fantastic. That's very interesting. And I would like to ask you now if you have any process, any system that you use when you're creating a design for gamification, or when you're consulting using your skills for gamification. Do you follow any process, any system that you have, or that you follow from somebody else?
Actually, I'm using a very close methodology with the user experience design, because I already given lots of lesson about that and given a lots of user experience classes. We are trying to create, for example, with the screen kind of gamification. We are trying to create a journeys like a customer journey, let's say this way. Open the screen, put this here, and fill up this one. And if you forget, and the second phases, we are trying to focus on the pain points we call. Um, what is the real one? For example, Turkish people loves writing. For example, they are not putting in the digital way. They are using lots of agendas, books, and they are just writing on there. So, but it's not a good thing. In one of my project, one of the target was that digitalizations. So because they are using lots of like I told you, the books and some notebooks and agendas, and it's not measurable and targeting from headquarters. So we just say, you forget them here, and we are trying to understand what is the pain points, and we try to understand who is them, why they are not doing this. It could be educational problem. They maybe don't know there. It could be motivational problem. They don't want to do that. They just love to do writing, but we can reward them in there. So we are using some level system on that. First time we are giving some pop-up, hey, this screen you forget, or do you know what is this screen? Kind of. Um, and adding some points, badges, or maybe some like unpredictable things, some collection stickers kind of game mechanic on there. Then after the journey finished, ideal journey versus the real journey, because real journey has always the pain points. If we are trying to measure them, how we can measure this, this kind of thing, because then the gamification engine is coming there. How many times he did that, how many points he earned, how many badges he earned, and how we can calculate with this kind of thing. So, and less time, less thing, how we can make it more fun. The less thing is going to be a fun, it could be story, it could be labeling the badges like a fun way, kind of. So we are just thinking about fun at the last part.
So that's fantastic. The first thing is thinking about the whole player journey and thinking what they would do and what's the ideal way that you want them to go through. Then what's the problems that they would encounter, and then you actually get into the deep design of all these things that you create. Is that correct?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Altug. Now we want to go into the next section, and here the engagers are expecting short answers, tips, tools, tactics, something that they can actually implement themselves, not only get inspired, but also that maybe they can use tomorrow, or depending on the question. The idea is for them to get all these tools, ideas, tactics, and be able to implement them. So the first thing that we would like to know is what is something that you think that any gamification project could benefit from, or what we could call also a best practice in gamification?
I think KPI is very important, Rob. And I talk with lots of experienced gamification people like Joris, like Yukai, like Andrej. I always think about the gamification is targeted changing behavior, and I always thinking like we have to put KPI about these behaviors. Yes, but it's not enough. And I think the power of gamification is about the crowd. For example, as also a couple of my project, we just saw changing the behavior. It's like 10%, sometimes 5%. But let's say the happiness with the portal and checking his friend, or filling up the form or adding his photo of the profile. It's not like you have to do this in 2 days, kind of. It's like opportunities for them to earn more points, kind of. It's the gamification power is I think the attribute to the portal or system is changing with they are not user anymore, they are player, and they are playing with the system. And I think this is like I told before, changing behavior with the real personality is a power of the game. When you are playing a game, you are real Rob. That's the important one. You are not real Rob while you are using a CRM, even not you are using some social media and computer, but you are playing. When you are feeling like playing, you can easily see the real Rob. So I think that we should add some social interaction KPIs to all our platform and the project. And I started to do that couple, at least my 2 project. I insist about that, and I'm trying to figure out that it's more like 200%, 300%. You can easily see the power of the gamification is a social interaction. If the project is not targeted social way.
So the what you would name here as something that any gamification project would be, on one hand, the key performance indicators or KPIs, and on the other hand, including a social element so that people can interact amongst themselves, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Altug, what's your favorite game?
This is one of my favorite question, actually. In conferences, everyone says about, some of my friends says, your mom let you play too much. That's the reason why you became a gamification guru, kind of, So, actually, I'm not playing lots of game in my day. I'm sad, but I was playing World of Warcraft lots of time ago, and I love Warcraft kind of strategically games. So yeah, that I couldn't play a game on my mobile phone too much, but I love the game with the stories. That's I can say.
So World of Warcraft would be probably one of your favorite games.
Yeah, and
Is there anybody, Altu, that you would like interviewed in Professor Game that you haven't heard of before?
that's a great question. I just read that and I really think about that more than a couple minutes. Actually, probably you heard when I started 2 years and 3 years ago for gamification, I made a 24 interview for my Turkish book. So you can with two dice. Every chapter you finished, you dice that and you can read that. So I gamify that. So I have a 24 interview. I interviewed with BJ Fogg, for example. It was great. I really love to. I just love his approach. The behavior grid is great. And also I somehow I using that in my some project from Stanford, BJ Fogg, and also
Fantastic.
Nirayal.
And near AL, yeah.
Yeah,
He's amazing.
his hook model, and I think he's also I know that he's preparing Habit Summit, and Yukai Cho going to talk about that. I think I made an interview with him, and he says changing behavior in the positive way, gamification is going to be very powerful, and he believes in gamification too. So it could be very good for doing lots of good project with the hook model. I use hook model too for
Absolutely.
mobile app, for example, kind of gamification.
In that same line,
That's all.
Altu,
Yeah.
if you had to recommend one book to the engagers, what book would that be and why?
Um, Actually, The Power of Habit is a very good book. Um, I mean, The Power of Habit book is showing some loops for the um, people, and also I learn lots of things from Gabe's Equipment Gamification by Design book, and also the Kevin Verba
For
for the
the
win.
win, yeah.
Yeah, that
Those
was
are
because
there's a
I love.
three great books actually.
Yeah,
And
I
your
love
book, of course. But
in Turkish.
the only
It's
problem is
there,
it's in Turkish, so I'm not
Turkish.
sure how many people in the audience will be able to read it. Hopefully,
No,
it'll get translated at some point to English,
sorry.
so we can have access to the all that
Yeah.
knowledge.
I after I making interview with Kevin Verba, UK, I gave them, and they say, "Yo, it's Turkish, but yeah, we will keep in that something
It's a
like that."
collectible.
Yeah, it's collectible.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, I like Kevin Verbach books. Also showing lots of failure. Failure is very important.
Yeah.
So I mentioned at Gamification Europe conference, maybe you can remember about the Disneyland. For example, Disneyland is a great failure project. So it was from his book. So it's
Yeah.
very important. And gamification. Yes, gamification is work. Gamification is a super. Yes, we are the advocates of that. But it's very powerful. So you have to be careful about that. So we need this kind of book already mentioned about some failure too to learn.
Absolutely. And Altu, what would you say is your superpower in gamification, your sweet spot?
Um, I think at the beginning I said, I've been in corporate life more than 10 years. I wrote a code. I use lots of responsible for the digital channels and mobile apps, something like that. I think the gamification, when I mention about gamification to people, just people eyes are shining, and just you can easily see the people started to smile about that. Maybe they are just remember their childhood. I don't know, but you will earn badges and you can go out early, something like you can go to lunch with the CEO. Yeah, if you have collect this 10 points more, kind of. I think when I mention about that, I got already superpower. That's gamification.
Absolutely. And now, Altu, we're going to move into our random question. So we're going to ask you, how would you use gamification or game thinking or a game to solve this problem posed by the audience? And the question will be, here we go. Okay. The text says, I am an MBA professor, so Master in Business Administration professor. My students are quite busy, so getting them engaged on my subject is a difficult task, even before we start. Is there any tip that you can give me to kickstart engagement with my students, to have them present in the class, not thinking about the readings that they, and this I'm adding this thing. I have seen students thinking about the next class instead of being present in the class that they're right now. So is there any advice that you would give this MBA professor, Altu?
Actually, I'm lecturing in university too, but let's say there is no one only good question or answer for that actually. But I can say, for example, I can motivate every, as for example, if I see some student is not motivated about this some lesson, I say, you are going to be coming to with me to work and present and next week to audience. And if you can able to do that, it's not a punishment, it's a reward. If you can able to do that, you can come with me to do some conference. You can come to conference with me to present with the 100 people, something like that. So we are giving some um, motivational rewards for them to take them to the engaged class and giving some, like I like gamification subs model. This I have, for example, my interview voices, for my book. I am sharing them. I say, I have interview, you can listen them, but I can give a reward for that if you will come to next week and do this homework or doing this present at this classroom. I can give you, and it's other one says that, what about next week? I like to do that. I really love to take your book interview, something like that. I'm using this kind of interesting rewards, let's say this way.
Fantastic. So very interesting way of rewarding the students is to invite them to participate in some conference or some talk that you could have in the future as an intrinsic reward.
Yeah, I mean, you can see from YouTube, I got already videos on that. I am doing the talking at the conference, and some part of it, some of my questions, some of my students coming up and doing that, they create a motivational for a couple weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they are motivated about that.
Fantastic. So let's connect that YouTube channel to one of the questions, and it's how can we connect with you, Altug? Can you give us your, I don't know, some social media or your YouTube channel? How can you reach you if the engagers want to ask you a question?
Yeah, so I use Twitter, and if you search like RARCAN, and my name is Altug, AL2UG, you can reach me, and I can share my Gmail, ARCANALTUG@gmail.com.
Wow,
And
thank you very much for that.
yeah, I'm very happy to have emails, and I can easily answer with the people about gamification or whatever they like to talk. So I'm still in the flow, like let's say this way, and that was one of the best part of the gamification, make an interview with the professor game.
Thanks for that. You're very kind, Altug. Well, now it's time to give your final piece of advice, and I always try to ask our guests to orient this advice, especially to those engagers who have never used gamification to engage their audiences, their learning audiences. Is there any advice that you would give them how to kickstart their careers in this area?
Actually, I'm always trying to be, there's a teacher there, there's a student there. It's 50 minutes, teacher talking, they are listening. It's not a good way to do that. I think more questions, and maybe like I told you, the students prepare to present. If you present, it means that you are already learned that, and they can create questions to ask each other. For example, I use lots of digital tool like QuizUp kind of, but I am giving as a reward, like, this group prepared questions for next week, so they are making a group work and they are just ask the people like teacher. So I'm trying to do this kind of gamify and rewarding things, and it makes them to think about that. And like I told you, I am going lots of conference companies. I'm trying to connect to students to companies. For example, I am saying, I will go to this company, you can come and create our persona. If you make some challenge about the creating persona, you can come a real company, and
Fantastic.
You can be with me. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And you can work with me for a couple of days. So, or you can present a presentation with me, and we can prepare with that. And I can give them, for example, there are lots of there are another experts in Turkey, like gamification people or other people, I can say, you can work with him too as a reward if you like to work with them. And say, yes, I like to work with Rob, for example. Yeah, I can say, Rob, Rob, this is Ahmet wants to work with you for half an hour. So I'm trying to get in this bridge to create a motivational things. And yeah, it works, by the way.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Altug, for participating in Professor Game. And I must say, it's time to say game over.
Oh, thank you, Rob. It's like I told you, I'm still in the flow, and that was one of the best thing in my flow for gamification.
Thank you again, Erkan. Let's leave it until next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. See you later. Bye bye.
Hey, Engagers! It's fantastic to have you around, and thank you for listening to Professor Game Podcast. If you want more interviews and more details from this interview with Altug Yilmaz, you can go to professorgame.com, just type in the search bar Yilmaz or Altug, A-L-T-U-G, and you'll find the episode there. In professorgame.com, you can also subscribe, and that way we can be in contact and you will have exclusive access to opportunities that Professor Game might have for you. And before you go into your next mission, would you like to know how to align values, principles, and epic meaning from gamification? Then you have to listen to Juliet, Denny, and the next episode of Professor Game. See you there!